They don't win this set. What happened to CLG?
It's kind of like what TSM said. So, you win a split, or even what, Shox was saying to Snoopy, you guys were winning the splits and then it stops. How do you regroup from that? And it's one of the hardest things to do because you don't learn things a lot when you win. That's what's said. You learn a lot when you lose.
Yeah.
And now these teams are starting to adapt more, and we can see, just like Snoopy said, they're feeling that pressure of not wanting to be relegated.
Yeah, and let's see if the bans are any different this time, because obviously the teams have swapped sides right now. Caster and Ari Thresh, the CLG bans. Keeping Caster obviously away from Voyboy. They banned Ari despite having first pick, which is actually a little curious to me. That's another one of those fear bans.
Do it. They haven't seen a lot of TF come out this weekend. The globals have been mostly Nocturne, Shen. We're getting Karthus in. And I have to see what they decide to go with. They're going to take their time on this. They know what they want. They have to by this point.
I should hope they know what they want. They've had a while to plan out these picks and bans. They go for an Elise over anything like a Jarvan or even Nocturne, which was banned out during the last game. The Elise worked very well for bigfatlp in the last game. His initiations were key. He dodged a lot of very key skill shots with it as well. And the tower dive he created in the top lane early on for Nien was awesome. This doesn't necessarily mean it's a bigfatlp Elise either. That could very well be Nien in the top lane.
You have that Nocturne still open. Big Fat's main jungler coming out into the season. He did try to play a little bit of Jarvan as well. That's his second. We'll have to see now. It's actually on to Curse for Voyboy and Saints picks. We've seen Cop getting towards last picks for AD carry.
The Ashe didn't work out for them very well last game either.
Looks like they're going to go for safety, not show too much. Obviously, Saint taking out Nasus. Took him last game. They'll have that comfort again.
Yeah, and the Sona is actually something I feel like Edward has the most success on. So even though Thresh is banned, now that he's on Sona, it's saying, all right, they're going to have a really strong laning phase since they picked Sona.
Link looking at Assassination. Played Ori last game. We will have to see. Chauster is going to be probably forced onto Lulu again for their picks. I'm looking at, with that Sona pick, I'm just thinking of as well. Thresh being down on their ban. Haven't seen Nunu since week 5.
No, and CLG just has so many options right here. They could go for a Tristana if they want to lock it down again because it had such success in the last game. Link gets to pick whether he wants to do his Orianna again because he's been picking Orianna so many times. It's his most played this split, and it gave them success last game. But there's still a chance if he wants to play something extremely aggressive like a Zed. Going with the Orianna and Tristana, though, going with what worked last game for them. Why would they change if they're only going to default back to that strategy every time they need a win?
If it looks like they have to pick up Lulu, too, the shields are still going to be there. You have them everywhere you need. Especially that last voice clip we had before we went to the commercial. Never really do you hear someone like Chauster say, everybody stay in the back line right now.
Yeah.
You know, they'll say, like, protect this guy, but the whole team just sat there and waited for Zanyas to stop. And the communication for CLG is huge right now. So by having those shields, you're just creating a mini game for the guys who can give that utility to Doublelift and just make sure he stays alive.
And here's something interesting about CLG. They like running frequently more ranged champions in team comps than usual if the other team doesn't have a good way of initiating. So right now with Curse, since they picked a Nasus jungle, he's not a very strong initiator. And dependent on what Voyboy picks, whether they pick it with this pick or the next one. Okay, so that's a Zyra mid. That's still not necessarily even. Ooh, we're going to talk about that Morgana in a second because that is a strong way of initiating. Because if CLG has 5 ranged champions, which they've done, especially in their win against Cloud9 this season, their first win against Cloud9, they had 5 ranged champions. They're very good at running those types of team comps. But back to the Morgana, Nyjacky is pretty much the original Morgana for North America. Last PAX, he played or he either picked Morgana or had Morgana picked away from him in almost every game. It is his go-to, not recently, but back in Season 2.
Well,
it's solid initiation. If he lands one binding, he will go in and flash for the combo. That's exactly the way he plays this one. And defaulting back to this at this moment, as well as giving the Black Shield protection to Twitch, they're going for it here.
Draven and Twitch were those champions that Cop really, we saw him start to adapt the aggressive style of gameplay. The flash in Twitch kills, Draven early game kills until, you know, people stopped using him in the LCS. this is going to be big for them, especially if Cop can have even more safety to be that aggressive with Edward on the backside. It's going to be big.
Here's the big thing. Nyjacky has to do almost everything for CLG right now. Voyboy almost needs to pick a hard initiator as well, because CLG has went for that 5 range champion. Jace top lane most likely for Nien, going for the jungle Elise as well. Very kitey team for CLG, not necessarily strong initiation. That's mainly a poke comp, but a late game comp that just relies on disengaging. And that's why Curse needs to pick some aggressive initiation right now.
Surprised we aren't seeing the Lux here from Link or something else.
Yeah.
The long range is all there. That's what used to fit with these comps. 2-0 coming into that last week for Curse on Amumu, but it's not going to be it. Obviously, they have the Saintvicious Nasus. We're going to see that Tryndamere coming in once again. It has... I think with the last one, he's up in losses.
Voyboy's experienced this Tryndamere versus Jace matchup before.
Yes.
I remember Zion Spartan, I believe, actually played Tryndamere against him when Voyboy was playing Jace and went off. This is actually an extremely good matchup for Tryndamere. As far as the overall aspect of the game goes, though, it's still extremely dangerous for Curse because they haven't had success this weekend going with Voyboy on a very strong split pusher and actually holding the fort with their other 4. Such a strong poke team coming out from CLG, and this is the last chance for Voyboy to make something happen with the split push because Curse is going for it again.
I don't know if this is going to stick, but there are 3 cleanses coming out right now for Counter Logic Gaming. They have on Jace, they have on Link, or sorry, they have on Nien, Link, and Doublelift.
They need... It's for the Morgana.
Soul Shackles.
It's exactly for the Morgana. I think it's actually more for the Dark Binding. Their one was changed away at the very last second by Link. He's not bringing it.
I would have been surprised with him.
But if they get Dark Bound, they need to be able to get out of there because that's Curse's only way of actually starting things outside of just flash ulting. And Nyjacky is a sniper with those Dark Bindings. He uses Fog of War amazingly, so you only catch it once you get vision of it, and he gets short, quick Dark Bindings. It's very dangerous to play against. And as well, CLG hasn't played against a Morgana in a really long time, so the cleanses are almost a safety net in case they're not used to dodging the Dark Binding spots.
And bringing that back, that's really going to be their initiation. It's kind of what they lacked last time, too. They kept trying to come in, get those initiations, but it was a walk-in, right? It was a walk-in. The arrow came, they were never there to try and get it up. We'll have to see if they can do it with the binding and then the follow-up with everybody coming in. We are into the second match here, Curse versus Counter Logic Gaming.
All right, so double Crystalline Flask in the middle lane. We need to pay a lot of attention to Nyjacky this game because of his Morgana pick. How's that one going to go? Early game, the Morgana is fairly scary. Remember last early game, neither team decided to invade to get any wards on red buff, which has become fairly standard opening strategy. There could be a cocoon or a bubble to catch if you're CLG, or a dark binding if you're Curse. But these teams are both playing very defensively early on, putting up that defensive wall. I see a little Oriana ball in there.
Great wards coming out. Looks like they may 2v1 the mid on this. They're going to give Morgana a little bit more trouble, and that shield's not going to be as big as a factor on the AD.
That could be a smart thing. Morgana doesn't necessarily have the ability to play 1v2 or like even in a side lane because ganks are extremely dangerous for her. And the Black Shield, like you said, doesn't help at all against ADs, which is back when Morgana was a big thing in mid lane. People would actually pick AD carries against her sometimes to beat her in lane. So doing a 2v1 would be a smart choice.
You mean when Ashe played mid?
But Link has so much confidence right now, Riven, against Nyjacky. I think he's just switching up and going there with Oriana.
Cop. Thank you, Cop, for giving us the taunt. And we see CLG moving in way below. So the ball told them that ward was in the bush. They're going to try to walk this in right now, playing the Fog of War trick. Keeping themselves, they are going to see here. And he said, Edward says, whoa, bad things. They're going to back out. Bad things turn into okay things, and then better for Curse.
And this could very well be a smite war, but Nyjacky is cheating over on the help side, whereas Link is staying in the lane, which meant Saintvicious was able to pull it into the brush where Curse had a pink ward, so he knew that CLG did not have vision of the blue buff there and secure it with the smite.
Great play by Nyjacky as well, or Link rather, in mid to push that lane as fast as possible. Nyjacky losing out on a few CS right away. We'll have to see these lanes not matching up with the 80 carry support mid, as you can see. So again, might have that slow laning phase to start. We'll see if they can ramp up Doublelift in the end once again, or maybe they'll focus on Link.
Standard lanes,
Yeah.
most likely very slow turrets, as we saw last game. It's going to be a very long laning phase. And will there be any adjustments here? The jungler matchup is exactly the same as well. It's Elise versus Nasus right here, and both of them I think are going to be farming up fairly quickly. The big thing that Curse needs to avoid is Voyboy getting shut down early.
You see that Big Fat is moving around his jungle, now going for blue buff, as it's been pretty much completely picked up here. So
But
we're going to
Saint
see
beat him to it by a large
so
margin.
much in the top lane already. He's just starting it. We saw Big Fat wait in the same bush for the first blood last time. You're going to have to want that. He's in the bush.
Yeah, Nien is going to have to flash away from this one, I think. He uses his cleanse and flashes, but they get the red buff back on him.
Can they get the kill? The acceleration gate's going to push him into safety. That was also a change by Voyboy. He ran Ghost Ignite last game. He's trying to get the exhaust this time, and it did not work for him. I don't think the Ignite would either, but just the change in those summoner spells.
Yeah, so both top laners burning all of their summoner spells. The biggest thing about that, though, is Nien just went back to base, whereas Voyboy has a fat wave of minions that he's able to continue to farm.
Just eat it up.
And keeping the ranged ones out of the turret is actually key for him because he does not want this wave to push back. He wants to hold it there and deny Nien farm. He's just going to swing in to get him anyway.
Yeah. You can see Link still has that mid lane pressure to the turret as well as the bottom lane. This causes Saintvicious to have to act on 2 lanes now, so his job is spread out even more. Top lane may not get as much help. Doublelift and Chauster trying to put this lane in the turret every time, as well as Link.
Yeah, this Tristana lane is definitely trying to shove in right now. Twitch, early game, got taken down slightly in this 3.10a patch. His Expunge no longer does, it's 20 less base damage early on in the game, so it's no longer the untradeable force that it used to be, and it's making Doublelift really just beat up on Cop and Edward right here. A little bit of this has to do with the blue buff secure they gave to Saintvicious. It delayed their entry into the lane, and Doublelift as well as Chauster have taken big time advantage of that, as you see in the minion kill score.
Nice try in mid lane to try to get that dark binding. Morgana a little bit harder to gank with when there's that wave. You just have to stand behind the minions, and you can see Link playing that to effect just a second ago. Doublelift and Chauster, that pressure is continuous, meaning the lane gank is going to have to come if Saint walks in, and that's not really going to be there without that Edward Thresh.
Yeah, lane gank by Nasus coming through the middle is not a powerful gank.
Yeah. Well,
what he's going to try to do, though, is he's going to try to go around mid lane most likely. Oh, he's going to come in all the way behind.
That's because they have that pink ward on the
That's a
brush.
smart
They
move.
saw him ward up the blue, and this is going to be huge. Cop is very low.
gotta
They
go
have
right now.
to be careful of when they go in. They have to consider that somebody else is coming here. There's too much aggression being shown from the team. Saint gets the attacks down onto Chauster. Doublelift has actually already used his rocket jump, and they're not going to focus him. Chauster had more HP right off the bat, but they went for, I guess, what they could grab.
Didn't even burn flashes. It kind of goes to show you how lackluster level 4 Nasus ganks are, even though he had a red buff.
Right.
Just extra speed, only the exhaust was burned by Chauster and Doublelift, and they get away with very little punishment.
It only slows for the crowd control in that lane, so the walkout, simple and easy with their shoes tied. Nyjacky trying to get some sneaky damage in from the side. That Tormented Soil pretty much keeping the minions pushed and off her turret now. She's got that leveled up.
Yeah, and bigfatlp is spending a lot of time again up here. I wonder if they're going to try
Right
a
before
delayed
6.
dive. It's so incredibly dangerous. I think they're hoping Voyboy goes aggressive and they can turn around something before he gets into turret range.
Well, they know that those summoners are down because Nien's summoners are down, so Big Fat has to take aggro if they really decide to go on this. He shows himself,
Yep.
and Voyboy says, no.
Well, they've already used the
Oh,
repel, and
maybe he
Saint would
doesn't.
be there to help.
Is Voyboy going to level on this? He's actually quite far away from it. Not going to hit 6 just yet, but Saint's right there to help. Big Fat gets hit by the turret. The damage had already connected. That's what you saw going in for the health bar, and they are going to back their way out. Great bait in by Voyboy there.
Gets a golf clap there for
Yeah,
the nice
yeah,
counter
Scott.
gank from Saintvicious. His timing was exquisite right there. He's only a level 4 Nasus, and he'd been ganking so many of the other lanes, so he actually wasn't XP'd up. But Ghost comes back before Flash, and Voyboy's trying to run him down.
He's got some more attack on it in the end. Is
Stunned him.
completely looking to help here. He's got to change forms to get anything else out, but the mana's down. It's only going to be the extra bit of damage for the form change. And it looks like the spin gets him out. That exhaust is up, and he actually keeps it throughout the battle.
Voyboy tried to make a play, but bigfatlp was still sticking around. I think overall, he was a bit of a nuisance there. and he's ended up burning his Ghost, but it'll still give him a little bit of sticking power in that lane. I like that move by Voyboy, even though it didn't pay off.
That bubble being missed, you can see Edward and Comp taking aggression off of knowing that crowd control is down. They get a bit of damage win in the trade there, and it's going to be the Wither going down on a double lift. They do not have enough to get under that turret.
Man, Saint is spending a lot of time just cross-country running.
Yeah.
He was just up top for a counter gank, and he ran all the way bottom, hardly clearing any jungle just to go with that gank. He's definitely not playing the old Saintvicious farm a bunch, which is actually what Nasus is fairly known for, farming the jungle and then going for Dragon. Saint instead trying to help out his lanes, but his lanes are still losing by a substantial amount of gold. The lead's almost up to 900 at this point.
We see Link taking advantage of when Nyjacky left lane to go and place his ward, knowing it'll be a little bit safer when they grab that blue buff. Nobody's going to be focusing him. A little note to take there. Still, the expunge, the attacks of the power cord. When you have a Sona in lane, you are going to take power cords to the face. It's known damage. So to have expunge on that, you can see now Doublelift and Chauster not always pushing the minions to the turret, but now that Curse or Cop and Edward are trying to get it there so they can fight this.
But the damage is being done in this lane. Look at that, 71 to 46 so far for Doublelift.
That's true.
His early skill order, he's put 3 points in Explosive Shot on Tristana, so his harassment is actually as high as possible right now. And it's also helping push the wave because Explosive Shot is exploding on all those minions right now. And it's just not allowing Curse to take the aggression in that lane, and it's keeping them at bay.
And I think it was like Doublelift that said, if you're down,
nice!
Steal by Nyjacky. That's only the Dark Binding damage, so he threw that one out, got it for himself. That's going to be pretty big for Orianna. Link has gone, I believe he levels that W. Most Oriannas do, so he can push people out of lane really fast.
Q, actually.
He leveled the Q.
He's leveled the Q on Orianna for more ball movement here against Nyjacky. But that steal could be very beneficial. You can see Link going for a really farm-heavy build. Crescendo down
That's what
bottom.
they were waiting for, that level 6. Edward didn't have much mana. They baited this one in. It's going to be the Ignite and the true damage. Doublelift forced to walk over Chauster's body.
All right, so Curse swinging back a little bit here. They were losing the lane phase by about 1,000 gold. Not only did Jacky steal blue buff, but bottom lane went in for Crescendo as they were pushed in, and then CLG couldn't run away as quickly as possible. Edward and Cop getting that kill, and now maybe even the Dragon.
This is going to mean a Dragon for a Curse as they come out here 10 minutes into the game. Very good movement. It's going to be warded up, so the timer's there for Counter Logic Gaming. They will be able to contest the next one. Pressure in mid from Big Fat. They're trying to pressure the turret, but Morgana quite good at lane pushing.
Yeah, and something to also note is Jacky, once stealing that blue buff, almost immediately used his ultimate on Link in the mid lane and burned his flash. So when the ultimate comes back up, Jacky might be going for a kill or a heavy amount of harass on Link, knowing that he won't be able to escape that Morgana ultimate second time around.
Gotta remember all those cleanses. Doublelift is down, so he won't get himself in too much of a dangerous situation right now. Nien rather. All the summoners are up in the top lane for him, as well as Voyboy, and the red buff onto Voyboy as well, which could change this. I think he'll be able to get out with it. I don't think he's going to see too much. The ward's there, and actually Big Fat's not even going to attempt.
Yeah, Voyboy with the red buff might look to go aggressive here. Sees Nien, uses his slow already, and is just going for a bit of a fight.
There's a form change, knocks him back. He's winning it so far, but
burned.
That Endless Rage will not allow that to happen continuously. Oh, he turns it off. He's going to back out of this one as he uses both summoners, and he sees Big Fat coming up from the river.
Yeah, he wanted to save his ultimate because he realized that was a misguided gank. If he would have sticked around for a longer fight, I think Voyboy could have beaten Yen, but the longer fight would have had more people involved, and bigfatlp would have killed him.
Big Fat definitely would have gotten the transfer on that red buff. Maybe Saint would have tussled it out with him, but I don't think it would have gotten. Oh yeah, they have to be right now. There's no vision on Orianna, but Link's only going to back. Nyjacky can't say that he's doing that because he doesn't have vision until now. So Saint, you can see that he's feeling a little bit more comfortable. Voyboy's returning to lane, so they may even try to bait something out here.
Really what Curse is trying to do is just hold strong at that turret.
Right.
Last game had an even longer 16 or 17 minute first turret. This one may be a little bit sooner. I feel like Voyboy's got to pick it up pretty substantially in that lane. He can't lose that to Nien, knowing that he last picked the Tryndamere. And he needs to get an edge on Nien, because last game he never really got it and couldn't quite put enough power in the split push to draw more than just one person to his split pushing, and that's not a game that Curse seems to be able to win.
A little bit of damage traded in the bottom lane. Both teams really trying to figure out what the other one wants to do. feel like Dragon, that next big objective is going to force these teams' hands into something that they don't want, possibly do want, if you're CLG right now. Or Curse, rather, up in gold. And that kill.
Yeah, Link and Nyjacky are farming pretty close to each other. I would say Link's done a great job with Orianna thus far against Morgana, just out auto-attack trading, I'd say, and then obviously not getting caught by the big dark bindings. Link always
that
a strong
first wave that she pushed into the turret, and then they've kept it even. Voyboy forced to back out, still waiting on those cooldowns. Flash is up for Nien, so he could go for something crazy here, but I feel like Voyboy could still wipe him out quite quickly. Now that he has that Cutlass, kind of get the kite on and get himself into safety. That turret going down quite quickly, so we may see a change in where Jace is going in this matchup, and they may start to push down that mid turret after.
Voyboy's really just trying to get to a Blade of the Ruined King right now, and once he gets there, I think he can duel Nien, but until that point, he's at Nien's mercy, and that turret could very well go down.
Doublelift to the bottom, half health on this turret here. Only trying to get a few shots on as Chauster keeps him safe with a water shot. There's going to be the turret in the top lane. Voyboy decides to stay. Looks like Nyjacky's going to come up here. Voyboy gets the squawk on. They're going to be slowed. Nyjacky feels like he's walking through a ward. They see Nyjacky turn around. He's fooling with me. He's just saying I can get some extra damage.
He's messing with us, but there's the tidal wave, forces the flash. Cop gets bubble.
Oh, he forces him into the bubble because he had to dodge the tidal wave. Great placement by Chauster. Cop barriers that one out, and they're going to be safe.
Even with the roam of Link as well, actually means Curse has to fall all the way off this turret. This could very well be some objective pushing by CLG.
This is how they did it last time. Not going to be too many wards, but it is going to be the lane gank. They have the Tri-Brush warded, but that leaves the river open, and Saint doesn't know that, doesn't go for it. Curse just guarding this one up, trying to keep what lead now, actually, they've lost in gold.
Yeah,
trying to keep it even at least.
Right now, CLG is out-rotating Curse. Everything in the bottom lane here. Saintvicious got pulled down. Link faked it, then went back to the mid lane. He's getting that one. Meanwhile, Nien is just freely farming away in that top lane, pushing Voyboy back. Slowly but surely, CLG's getting all these outer turrets.
138 to 97, 134 to 114. Counter Logic Gaming is on top of the laning phase, even 119 to 96 in that top lane for Nien. Like I said, Doublelift says that Tristana is okay behind 30 because of that explosive shot, but whatever they did in the bottom lane, he has completely gone 50 CS right now above and is about to finish his first core item.
Yeah, Tristana's okay down CS, but it's a lot nicer if you're up 40 on an enemy Twitch. We knew the Doublelift won round 1 by a wide margin over Cop, and round 2 is going even better because Twitch Sona is a strong laning combination, and Doublelift and Chauster are putting on a clinic.
Here it is, going in. Link did not choose to get the cleanse. He throws off the cleanse. Could have saved his life there. Couldn't get his knight off either.
Jacky got in range for that ultimate and made it inescapable by Link. That's the Morgana kill he was waiting for. He'd been getting out-farmed, and much like the bottom lane for Curse, you need to turn that around for kills if all the enemy is doing is constantly pushing to your turret.
Great move by Link. Morgana, not really the one you're going to expect to go and 1v1 somebody.
It happens
especially
more often
somebody
than
with
not,
a shield.
especially when Nyjacky's playing Morgana. His laning immaculate. I mean, needlessly large rod. It looks like he's going to be rushing that Zhonya's Hourglass. And he's actually not even up in gold on Link, but he did get the kill.
Turret going down in the bottom. CLG now holds 2 of those turrets in their hand with the mid one waiting to be taken down. So they've spread out a little bit of the vision now for Curse, but with that middle turret, they still have a pretty good guard on what happens at their buffs and at the dragon.
But with Voyboy running down, this is an extremely obvious dragon. There's no ultimate on Nyjacky. Curse is trying to rush this down before CLG can make it.
Easily going down. That Tormented Soil along with the Nasus ultimate. If you stole it with a tidal wave, I'd shake your hand. 17 minutes coming up on the clock here. Doublelift. A little aggressive there. Wanted to see how much damage he could do after coming out of the base.
So Curse is actually sticking just in this one with a little bit of savvy. They were able to take down the dragon, and they've gotten the 2 kills. So they're doing much better than they did early on in the last CLG game. But CLG has the 2 outer turrets down right now, and they're going for a third with a hard 5-man group in mid lane. Remember, they're all ranged, and this is that poke comp that they wanted to try to pull off. Curse is going to struggle in this scenario.
Both teams trying to adapt and doing it slightly as to what caused them in their losses yesterday. That mainly is making moves and not waiting for the mistake, causing those mistakes to happen. Both teams have been able to find that at least twice within these past 2 games. Curse obviously on the downside of that, but finding their way back in. Only 400 gold down. They have the 2 kills, but they have to find these turrets soon. They're not getting anywhere in the lanes.
Yeah, and this is a blue buff Jace that's poking down on this turret, so those shock blasts seem a little bit endless. Curse knows that they get outpoked in a 5v5, so they're going to try to hold this as long as possible while Voyboy tries to get one back on the other side.
Looks like he's actually doubling up his purchase. He does have a bit of damage on the Cutlass, but he goes for the Zeal for those whacks. Wants to get the Static Shiv out as well, so he's double purchasing up here. And that's going to also help him, as we said, take down the turrets. But without the vision on the map, he's forced to leave this one out.
And look at that. Curse actually saves their middle turret by sending Voyboy to pressure the top lane. CLG didn't want to opt in to the turret trade there. They want to save as many of their turrets as possible and almost starve Curse of a bit of gold here. Yeah, because that could have been a straight trade.
That would be bigger as well. If Voyboy gets that lane, he can kind of just free farm in it constantly if there's a turret out there.
Exactly. I mean, especially once Voyboy gets that Static Shiv, as he's going for now. He's going to have a remarkable wave clear, but because he's kind of double dipping, as you said, building 2 items at once, it does mean he's a little bit slower getting to that point, and it makes it even more important that CLG keeps someone against him in lane, since Voyboy's not actually at a very strong point in the game right now.
God. Doublelift almost at 200 CS before 20 minutes in the game. See some very good wave clear coming out of Link, which means CLG will have Turtle in effect if they get to the base. They have Jace, they have Orianna. That late game Doublelift wave clear that comes from the explosive shot is going to keep CLG safe
in here
at their doors. But not at the turret so much. Nien knocking back. We can see how much damage that did. He tries to cleanse this, flashes it out, trying to pull the aggro of the turret and keep Saint away from him. But it's going to be Voyboy that was taking it the whole time, so it wouldn't have mattered. The Endless Rage would have carried him through.
Nyjacky flashing in mid as well. 1v2.
They take the damage off. The shield goes away with an extra spell. Before that, the wave comes through. Chauster takes it with a tidal wave.
Surprise. There's 3 people there, Nyjacky, and that does not work out. So now the turret trade that was not chosen earlier happens again thanks to a bit of aggression from Curse, trying to get kills in multiple lanes at the same time. One worked, one didn't.
CLG going for another turret now. Curse finding their first one, as we saw in that top lane, trying to go for that, or going for that kill. But now pushing down mid, it's going to be Nyjacky down for the team. He picked up a Zhonya's on that last buy, so as we see that engagement again, it'll be a little different. Doublelift keeping himself on the front here, with seeing that there was no hard crowd control, he just knew he was safe.
Doublelift is feeling really good this game. Obviously with that incredible 188 farm. Now just trying to push turrets a little bit extra, and that 80 carry matchup might be getting out of hand sooner or later. Cop is going for the same build as Doublelift, but he's just not even close. He doesn't even have his 3 components for the Infinity Edge yet, whereas Doublelift is sitting on the Infinity Edge and now part way towards his Zeal. If Cop even tries to fight Doublelift, or even looks at him the wrong way, he's probably going to die.
He did just finish the Infinity Edge, but like you said,
here we go.
It's already a little bit behind. That means Doublelift has already had that gold starting to accrue towards his next item. It's going to be only 600 gold, but he's already 500 up, and he's going to start getting that attack speed in. We have the Static Shiv, as you said, on Tryndamere coming out, so that lane's going to be a bit more troublesome and will start to spread CLG thin. It's going to have to call somebody to that lane.
That dive that Saintvicious and Voyboy pulled off was very beneficial. Voyboy can get a lead. CLG doesn't necessarily have something that can answer against that.
Cop doing what he do right now, and that is just farm. They really can't start these engagements. Coming out of his invisibility will give him a bit of attack speed that he really needs right now, but it's not going to be enough to do the damage required. The Athene's coming out onto Link. That'll help in his engagements. We saw Nyjacky wasn't able to fully zero him out that time, so we see everybody starting to get their adapting items to make this game a little bit longer, a little bit more of a CLG Curse game.
This one is definitely closer than the first game, though. Curse has put up a much better fight, and I feel like their overall strategy is a bit stronger. Jace can't necessarily deal with a Voyboy split push. You generally need a tank to deal with the Tryndamere split push, and that is not what they have. Nyjacky going round 2, but there's too many people there for CLG.
Way too many. Throws down the ultimate. He actually gets him right out of the Zhonya's. That was a perfect ultimate. Saintvicious gets dropped down. The bubble goes up. Dogs don't like bats. Double kill coming in for Nien. They are going to make their way out smiling.
Dogs hate baths,
Dogs
by the way.
hate
That
baths.
is something that Saintvicious did not want to be involved in. It's really on Voyboy now to try and make a play because the middle of Curse's team got destroyed, and CLG is just deciding to try and push through.
And you can see Nien's pick of Jace only 3 times. And Nien saying in the beginning of the split, I have the chance and the potential to be one of the best top laners, and he shows it with his variety of champions.
Another awesome bubble chain onto Cop. This is trouble. The 5 range by CLG setting up their siege right now as Nyjacky tries to come out of the base.
Those shots.
Oh, not a big jump by Double.
It's going to be a big Doublelift. Going for the tiny jump on that one. He gets him on the other side.
Spins after him.
Blade. He cannot get the kill down. It is not going to be there, and he heals up for the kill.
So round 1 of Voyboy versus Doublelift goes to Voyboy. I feel like we're going to have that fight many more times this game as CLG picks up a dragon.
Yes, please. I'd take that. Zanya's coming up for Nyjacky. We saw how much that somewhat came into play, but the rest of CLG feels like fights are about to happen. Fights are going to happen now. We could see 3 of them congregating around that fight starting to happen. They came out on top. It's 4-3 now with CLG in favor of Curse, but CLG is really starting to come back in those kills. They were up in everything else, so they're trying to get that one.
And if we think yesterday, the way CLG lost to TSM, a lot of it revolved around objective control. And you could kind of see that CLG has a new mindset today when that is involved. They've been very good at focusing dragons today, and their turret pressure has been substantially improved over yesterday. That's the focus that CLG really went over overnight because they didn't think about super new team comps. Even though this 5-range comp is nice, it's still very CLG style. It's the objectives that have changed for them.
bigfatlp doing what he can. Not going to be enough with the Spideys at the bottom turret, and it's a very good thing that he left right there because that was about to be a sour situation with the entrance of Cop on Twitch. He is looking to get himself back in this game, and little does he know he thwarted that from happening. So Big Fat going to be able to play this safe. Cop striving to get some kills here. He is now down a good 70 CS on Doublelift.
And it's almost going to continue to increase as Doublelift is being used as the split pusher, whereas Cop is buddying with Saintvicious. Again, Nyjacky going in mid. Can it work this time?
Great crescendo right onto Link. The bubble goes down, so Nyjacky gets kind of thwarted out for damage. The ignite is there onto Link. Oh, they get the kill down.
But Curse is coming in from behind. CLG's running right into them.
Oh, Cop so sneaky. Gonna come up. He says, you smell, and he's gonna
can't get him.
Kill, but he gets bubbled up as well. Twitch also hates bats. Chauster trying to get the kill here. Big Fat comes in big, but he doesn't have much to use on his abilities. He's staying in Spider form so he can kick out the damage. Doublelift on one side.
Oh, he knocked him back.
Buster shot away, saves Chauster's tail. He swims off the safety. Big Fat still looking for safety there. He may actually die to the wolves. He goes in for the fight, repels, Link's on the other side. They come down with the kill. The unity of CLG. Nien now running for the team. They give him help as Voyboy's turning tide.
Chauster, the only member of CLG to die there. That's the kiting ability of CLG. Voyboy goes back in, but Link is there.
Link's there with the shield. That means the speed up and the slowdown is too. He sits on the dissonance and he has no chance at getting back the shutdown onto Voyboy.
And Nyjacky just trying to go in, blocks the stun, but again, no one on CLG is willing to die in this one. Curse cannot find a break.
Endless fighting coming out here. We see what the semi-shields are doing here. The heals are doing. Nyjacky going down quite early. Nobody's really been around Jacky for their initiation here. There's a crescendo, but where?
Exactly. Where's the rest of the team? You can see the damage that Nyjacky put down on a Link. Edward was trying to support him, but remember, Voyboy was split pushing, and Saintvicious and Cop were down at the bottom trying to come up here. And then it's basically hide and go seek for the rest of the game here. Cop flashes in early, misses Orianna, and Link ends up contributing later to this fight by actually finishing off Cop from over the wall. Hello, I'm still there. And it's just everyone on CLG is in the right place. A beautiful knockback there by Doublelift. Just Curse couldn't catch a break. Every spell from CLG was landing perfectly. And we're getting the gasps a second time because that fight was just so amazing for CLG.
Voyboy had to work for that kill on Chauster. He was pretty much alive for that, but he wanted some gold. They need to get their items finished up here. That fight did not crumble in the way they wanted it to, and it took out quite a bit of the summoner spells. They're going to require this window being open for CLG here. You can see the confidence.
Exactly. After a fight like that, it's a backbreaker as far as Curse's confidence goes. It gives it all back to CLG. If Curse can't finish off members of CLG when they're at 1/3 health, then how confident does that make them when CLG is all at full health pushing up the mid lane?
so far they've had to spread themselves out thin. So if anybody's pushing up the mid lane, they're actually not liking it at all. It's always Saintvicious, or rather Voyboy in another lane, as you're saying. 8-5 on the scoreboard doesn't say much about what's been really happening in the game with how much positioning has been placed before these kills have been going down. We saw Doublelift and Chauster last game with the pink wards trying to initiate things for themselves. Now again, like you said, the mid lane.
And it's CLG's chance to make a move here. It's so difficult for Curse to split push when they have an exposed inhibitor. That's exactly why CLG is deciding to push in middle right now. Voyboy's trying to make something happen down in the bottom lane. But this happened to Curse yesterday. They lost the inner turrets, and they lost their ability to force split pushing. They're still trying, though, but Voyboy and the rest of Curse are in a dire situation here.
Almost 100 CS on that difference between the AD carries. Chauster doing what he can. Everybody in that mindset of do this, do that if you can for a half a second. And the damage is always there. He goes for the frenzy, tries to get some damage down for bigfatlp. He was sped up a bit. And it looks like they will not continue.
And Voyboy got pulled back to base because Doublelift was pushing the other lane. This means CLG has complete confidence with where they're sitting right now, knowing how lackluster have been. Curse wants Nyjacky's flash to be up so he can go with Morgana and they can actually try a 5-man fight, but it's going to be difficult.
Bottom lane is pushing for Curse, so it will only
that
be
inhibitor's
top
getting real low.
After this if it goes down. Looks like they are able to somewhat hold it. This minion wave could mean it.
Curse either has to go on the next wave or just give up their inhibitor. They're really thinking about going for it. They have multiple people with home guard boots, and Nyjacky is trying to make a move real soon.
That flash crescendo from Edward is sitting on the outside of the fight. If he can find it, we got to have the team follow up, though. Look how spread out they are. If there was that initiation, and it's not going to be there, they let the inhibitor go down.
CLG waited the extra wave. They recognized that they had the superior poking potential, and they just got it through sheer time.
The Muramana spike coming out for Nien, and we can see the Blade of the Rune King not being finished out here by Voyboy.
Yeah, he's going for an Infinity Edge. He wants larger amounts of damage faster. He's almost chancing on critical strikes because he knows he's going to be very low in these team fights coming up. If he's Tryndamere now without a full build, forced into team fights against an incredibly kitey team, it's not the position Voyboy wanted to be put in this game.
Doublelift again nearing 3 full items, looking to finish up that last, or rather the Phantom Dancer on his last Whisper that he actually went for quite quickly. His Warden's Mail onto Saintvicious, that armor onto Nyjacky. He wanted to get through that.
And here's an example of how dominant Doublelift was in the lane. He didn't even have to go Vamp Scepter on Tristana because the harassment from Curse, exactly.
Did it last game.
The harassment from Curse wasn't able to even get him to that point, which has just accelerated Doublelift into even more damage from his build. At this point, he has obviously the lifesteal from his masteries and runes 6% right now, so just the runes giving him that benefit since he's doing so much damage late game.
What Voyboy can do for himself here. He's got 820 gold in the pocket, so this will help a little bit. It'll put him over 1,000.
Yeah, Tryndamere takes down the dragon pretty well.
Up near 1,000, but he's not going to be able to buy too much with it just yet. He'll get that critical cloak down. He will be able to chance a little bit more on that, but the Infinity Edge is really what he's looking to max his damage on. Able to clean out this bottom wave. That's going to be an attempt at Baron.
Ooh, and this is a thing that CLG is dangerous to attempt. Since they are all ranged, getting caught in the Baron pit by a Morgana, there's no real full tanks on CLG. The closest they have is bigfatlp's Elise, and that wasn't necessarily the best move by CLG. If they could have gotten it, it would have worked out, but that's something Curse saw a mile away.
3 members with 1,000 gold going back. One of those members is actually Nien with 1,600. You can see him bringing out the Black Cleaver, getting Home Guard Lucidity boots on. The Shock Blasts are going to be plentiful coming out from him.
Yeah, Nien could be the Siege Master for these guys if he's able to really put his stamp on this game. They know they already have the inhibitor down, so Curse is kind of trapped in farm mode.
Oh dear.
Yeah, Voyboy's got to watch out. He's got to run really
He's like,
quickly.
It's too quiet in this jungle. I need to get out of here.
Where is everybody? What's going on here? Where's CLG on the rest of the map? I'm going to get out of here.
It's only a 4,000 gold lead, 31 minutes into this game right now. We look back at the CS, 300 CS for Doublelift to 211 for Cop. Still 2 assists on him. Chauster picking up a kill earlier. I don't think he was actually involved in that one, so really no worry there, actually. But he needs to start getting those kills. The Twitch spray and pray when these guys are low is what's going to finish these fights. It can't be Voyboy.
And of course, if CLG wins this game, they're guaranteed their spot in the Season 4 Spring Split, whereas Curse would still have to win their way back in. in a promotion tournament later this year. So obviously, these guys are playing with a lot of stress, and Cop in particular is a full Last Whisper behind Doublelift right now. And you can see how much Doublelift is hitting right there as he just pushed Voyboy right out of that fight. And CLG's really trying to take control of this Baron area. They know that in the 5v5 fights, they can kite back so well. The worst thing for Curse
he did not expect to see that. Chauster is littering the jungle right now with wards. He does catch it before the circle is exited.
That's the amount of wards that they put throughout the jungle just waiting for the catch, and Curse was trying to set up some split push opportunities to farm Voyboy. Was just looking a little too hard, and now CLG has a clean shot at either turrets or a Baron, or they're trying to do a little bit of both.
And this is a 1, 2, and 5 Chauster. He doesn't have that Ruby Sightstone. He's been spending money on these pink wards to go around the map as well, off just the Sightstone. He is really prioritizing the build to own this map.
Yeah, and I just gotta hand it to CLG for this somewhat clever Baron move. They're maximizing their farm because Doublelift and Chauster were pushing the top lane while the rest of CLG 3-manned the Baron. Well done.
Even pink wards on the red. Voyboy, that thwarted. It's like they timed him coming in on that one. CLG is one step ahead of the game right now. 6,000 gold, 6.5 in the lead, really. 9-5 on the board, 6-3 in turrets, 11 turret stand on the map. Curse has 5 more to be knocked down, and CLG has their eyes on him.
Doublelift trying to get as much turret damage down as possible, but knowing there's a Baron as well as an exposed inhibitor means Curse's defense is going to be even more difficult. Nyjacky still doesn't have the item breakpoints he wants. He's trying to sneak around the corners there and use his Dark Binding properly so he can get one and then flash in for an initiation, but it just hasn't worked out for him thus far. The times he's flashed in, it's generally backfired for Nyjacky because the team just hasn't had the team fight follow-up potential.
He ramped up early with that solo kill, got his Zanyas, and he's sitting on building the Rabadon since we saw him get that kill before building the Zanyas and then dying. So you're right, it has slowed down immensely for these guys, and that's also slowing down the initiation on these fights and causing Voyboy to have to do these risky things, pushing bottom lanes, trying to grab red buffs, do whatever he can to really stop CLG, which does not look easy with a Baron buff.
Yeah, and this is the slow play that CLG is capable of. They can just go in for a couple shots on that inhibitor, wait for Curse to pull him back, and then go in again with the next. CLG got this inhibitor down the first time, and they have a Baron this time, so I'm expecting them to do it again. If Curse wants to stop it, they're the ones who have to fly into CLG and risk getting disengaged on.
The Shock Blast still going in. There's a beautiful command Shockwave. Saintvicious forced to ult defensively out of the fight completely in the background. Nyjacky, every time he's out of Zanyas, he gets hit up. Voyboy as well gets locked up very hard there. The exhaust he tries to use, but he goes down as well. CLG looking good on a base push. 2
for 1 in that fight, and the bubbles from Chauster have been perfect there. They get the inhibitor down, and they're looking for more.
Edward coming out here with the home guard boots on, trying to get a little bit of damage down. They're really just creating the pressure of presence right now. That is all just a bluff that Curse is trying to do, and CLG does not buy it.
Going hard.
Going in on, they get 2 kills for Doublelift, looking for the triple kill. He gets that last explosive shot from Tristana. There it is, takes him down. They get the inhibitor, and it may look like the game.
And they knew their strengths here. Doublelift got farmed once again. CLG got the inhibitors down. That's an ace over a long period of time. They're going on the Nexus turrets, Riv.
This could spell the Season 4 Spring Split for Counter Logic Gaming. They take down the second Nexus turret. Everything is falling but the Nexus Jet. They get on it. Doublelift padding his heart in a sigh of relief and strength in the ability they showed this game.
And so many CLG fans will be wondering, where was this CLG yesterday when they had a chance to make it into the semifinals? But they came when it mattered here. They get the 5th place spot. They make it into the Season 4 Spring Split, and that is relief you see on CLG right now.
Deja vu's happening all around for some of these teams. It would have been either one, both again.
Saint, Nyjacky, and Cop were all here last year in the 3rd, 4th place game against CLG at PAX, knowing full well that if they lost the series that they would then have to re-qualify for the next season via a promotion tournament. They're here again. It's the exact same situation.
Some bitter, some sweet. Obviously CLG moving on to that Season 4 Spring Split. Strength for the team to stick together, and even like Snoopy said, it's a long death timer here, as we said before. 3 months is quite long, so they are going to have to keep themselves together. Obviously, Curse, a very strong organization. I don't think we'll see them going anywhere due to the situation. So, Curse fans, no worries.
Yeah, it's been a tough season for Curse all around. They picked up Edward after losing Elements. Everyone kind of expected that to be the way that they would make their run, but they hit some tough spots during the split. They didn't have the seed that they had in the last split, and then after winning that first game yesterday against Dignitas, lose 4 in a row, and then they end up getting dropped into that tournament. So tough losses for them, and they're going to have to make that regrouping effort.
All right, guys, we're going to send it over to Kobe and Freak for a breakdown of CLG's clutch Game 2 win.
Thank you very much, Riv, and we are here to talk about at the end, a very convincing win, but the start of it was definitely a whole lot closer. We'll start with the beginning of the game. So as Zhao talked about, an all-range team composition. I mean, okay, Jason at least can go melee, so it's cheating a little bit. It's kind of a 3-2, but all arranged and a pretty poke-based lineup.
The key when you're running a full range composition is always focus and coordination, because if your team spreads out, you can still all focus on one target, no matter who it is, when they dive in on you. And they did a good job both spreading themselves out and then focusing down the right targets at the right time. But they also laned extremely well. I mean, CLG just destroyed them in the CS numbers very early on, and then also the turrets. But Curse were able to clob their way back into it with the kills and sneaking the dragon.
Yeah, Curse did a really good job of finding their way in. So Nyjacky had a one-on-one kill on Link, which was just awesome. Normally Morgana's like, oh yeah, she's passive, it's a farm lane, and then just like straight kills Orianna, who has a shield and disengage tools. Also the duo lane of Cop and Edward, you're right, they got behind in minions. They found kills by themselves, and actually Curse was able to transition them into some objective control as well, that they kept the gold up from kills and objectives.
Right. So because CLG had the turrets, though, they were able to find stray kills later in the game because Curse didn't have that extra protection. And it was really close up until this clip that we want to bring up, which is a mid-game teamfight clip that was really spread out and shows a lot of very good communication from CLG and just good skirmishing style because they're not together, but they still pull it off. So let's bring up our clip. All right, so this one starts off, actually, with Nyjacky flash initiating with his ultimate 2 versus 3. This is just Nyjacky and a support. This is how confident he is on that Morgana because of that early solo kill on Link. He thinks he can 100% Link, even in the face of 3 CLG members. Not quite the case, though. Let's roll the clip, and we'll see that he's not able to 100% burst down Link, his target. He's forced to Zanya's after this bubble hits because Nien's right next to him, and they could have finished him off. That allows Link enough time to finish him off with a shockwave. And here begins the chase. All of Curse think they have him trapped. Cop even flashes forward, but another bubble from Chauster. That's 2 in a row, saving Link here. It's also able to delay Cop. bigfatlp comes in, and they do a good job of managing their health bars. Even Doublelift is peeling for Chauster. The roles have been switched here. They do such a good job of splitting it up. Link is still alive, by the way, above him, and he's going to come back down for the 3 versus 1. Doublelift finishing that off while bigfatlp pulls off some acrobatics. Even Voyboy over here is going to bite the dust as well, as Nien and Link do just too good of a job kiting him. He doesn't have enough on Tryndamere to close the gap. This CLG composition was built around speed boosts. They have so many speed boosts, and that was sort of the adaptation that they made when Shen was banned out. They couldn't go full shields, so they got the acceleration gate there from Jace, who also has knockbacks.
Which was so cool to watch as well. I was kind of looking through Champion Select and saying, oh, they let him have Tristana, and they first picked the Sona, and I was like, oh, Curse are gonna like pick a strong lane, and Sona Twitch was gonna be so powerful, and I was like, huh, they went with Nami, who's a pretty good laner, but like is not gonna, I would have expected, keep Doublelift in good shape in the lane. But what was interesting about the Nami, though, was the team fighting. So you saw the bubbles keep getting hit. Those were really impressive. But there was the one just outside of Curse's base where he tidal waved and he caught Voyboy and a Tryndamere holding like a 50% slow, just like trying to get out of base.
So that's the other thing. Curse last picked Tryndamere after CLG already had this speed boost composition. So he was really not hoping to get into those team fights. It was all about split pushing. He didn't want it to come to this, but CLG getting that early lead were able to force this type of game.
And they did a really good job sieging. So congratulations to Counterlogic Gaming, putting themselves at the 5th place at the end of the season. They'll be here in Season 4 as Curse has to fight for their spot. So guys, we've got to take